Hey everyone, it's Will back again with Home on the Range. This episode is number 10, and we're with Greg from Hackett Equipment, talking SHOT Show 2020 pregame, EDC carry choices, firearms, equipment, accessories, and let me hit you with a little disclaimer. It's not about the brands that we use, it's the platform-based discussion that gets us to the end. So I'll see you on the other side.
Welcome to Home on the Range, the official podcast of 1881 Ranch, bringing you the latest on the products, topics, and techniques for the shooting, hunting, and adventure lifestyles. Here is your host, tactical deployment of small arms expert and 1881 Ranch Director, Will Egbert Jr.
Okay, everyone, we're on the other side. I'm joined in the studio with Greg from Hackett Equipment once again.
What is going on?
How you doing, everybody?
Pretty good. How about you?
Excellent. This is going to be a great episode, everybody. This is episode number 10. We're talking EDC carry choices. And as the intro kind of alluded to, we've got a whole bunch of shenanigans going on here. We got 2020 pregame for SHOT Show. We're going to be going over some firearms, how to carry, how we carry, everything from equipment, accessories, first aid, training, that type of thing. But like I said before, this is not about the brands. This is more about the platforms, and it's a platform-based discussion, right?
Yeah, I like this one. A little more focused than our last discussion.
Yeah, well, that was I called it a foxhole, but I don't think anyone got that reference. I think it was more like a rabbit hole for an elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. It's more like cockroach holes.
I'm missing Chris already, by the way.
Oh yeah, poor Chris. He's not here. He'll be getting on the next one. All right. So if you didn't meet Greg in one of the last podcasts, he is the owner of Hackett Equipment. That is Hackett. Right?
Equipment.com. Yep.
Yeah, HackettEquipment.com. There is still a promo code up there?
Yes, Hackett 20 for 20% off.
There you go.
That still works.
Oh, that's awesome. Yep. Perfect. So run over to Hackett Equipment, go get yourself a rifle burrito.
Yeah.
I didn't call it a taco this time.
What episode did we do? Was it number 6?
7?
7? Yeah.
7.
Okay.
Yeah, don't quote me on that. Just go look at the things.
This will be a good segue though.
I think so. So we should kind of tell you guys that we're enjoying a blue beverage. I was walking through the grocery store the other night, kind of late night, and grabbing some stuff, and I saw this little thing. It's by Morocco, right? Yeah, Morocco cocktails.
Yeah.
Right, they're already pre-mixed in these little cans. And this one's called what?
Blue Crush is what it's called.
Yeah, Blue Crush. So it's got 2 shots of alcohol per can, right? The little cans, like the White Claw stuff, right?
Yeah.
And it's got vodka, gin, rum, tequila. Am I missing something?
Quite the combination.
Yeah.
Was it Curacao or
yeah, and blue Curaçao.
Curaçao, that's how you say it. Okay.
So while we were sitting here doing our notes, we're trying to put our finger on what this tastes like. And what did you say?
You said it. You had a great example, the blue Tasty Freeze.
Yeah. The see-through tubes, that you get when you're a kid. You get them like a 96 pack or something for $5.
Right, yeah. Throw them in the fridge. Actually, I used to just drink them without even freezing them when I was younger.
Yeah, you feel like you're at Six Flags.
Right.
You're at the amusement park just topping off around sugar.
And that's why I have so many cavities.
So yeah, that's what that tastes like. It's pretty neat. It's just a little change from a bourbon or our Manhattans or Red Bull and vodka. So this episode brought to you by some sort of blue shenanigans or blue craziness in a can. All right, so you want to hit the SHOT Show 2020?
Yeah, let's start with that.
All right, so pregame. Here we are next month, or no, it's this month.
Yeah, this month. Ooh. It's coming up.
Are you ready?
Like 3 weeks.
Yeah. I'm not.
I am not ready.
I'm not ready either.
I'm even less ready than I was last year.
That's the mark of professionalism right there.
Yeah.
Honesty. All right. So, we're going to the show to kind of firm up all of the different sponsorships, alliances, and and partnerships that we've got set up with a couple of other gun manufacturers. We're also kind of tightening down.
And you started this last year where you were kind of like throwing the idea out. This is kind of like
right.
You're zipping everything up now.
Exactly.
Kind of circling the wagons and getting everything closer. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So last January, we knew we had the project. We knew we were going ahead with it. We hadn't secured a piece of property completely. Now we have. We didn't know exactly where we were going to be in the county. We knew where we were going to be, just not what piece of property. Now we've got all that hammered out. So it's taken us a 1 year. And I think everyone that I talked to the previous year is going to be very surprised. Or
everybody's been surprised about how much progress you've made already.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they have. On my side, like I said last time, it's like it's dragging on.
Yeah.
But everyone else is sitting there going, hey, man, you're doing okay. Relax.
Yeah, like you're ahead by a year, dude.
Yeah, don't get too hard on yourself. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to be looking for targets, ideas, other partners. We've got a couple talks. I can't go into too much about it right now, talk out of school about it, but we've got a couple different trainers that we're talking to, some high-end names that we circled back with, as well as at NRA show as well. We kept that going. So everyone's kind of going to be on board, and we got to send out some emails and firm up a couple times for a few of these meetings. But mostly that's what we're up to.
Yeah,
that's what we're up to.
That's exciting.
But you're going out with a cool new program.
Yeah. So to kind of backtrack a little bit, we had a booth at SHOT Show last year at the what was it called, the pop-up preview, where like newer companies can have like a 10x10 booth for a day and get to display their wares. You know. And we met a lot of dealers through that, and we even got to meet a couple distributors too, which was cool. This year, our approach is going to be a little bit different. We don't have a booth or anything like that. We're going to do kind of more setting up meetings and gather partnerships, more boots on the ground kind of thing. So it's a different approach for us, a little less like putting ourselves out there and more back-end meetings kind of thing.
Well, yeah, like you've got to tighten up what you've got in the field already.
Correct.
You've got to make some headway with a couple of these other things that you told me.
Yep.
But you've got something new coming out too, right? And it's this new program that you put up a Facebook support group?
Yeah.
I mean, do you have to drink a lot to be part of this support group? Or?
Yeah, like AA for shooters. December 26th, we launched a competitive shooting program, and basically it's a way for competitive shooters to help fund their sport while being sponsored by like a growing brand.
Yep. All right.
So
good.
Basically, they get steeply discounted gear from us.
Okay.
And they also get the chance to sell our gear per se.
At an event.
At an event or to their immediate network, if they have a website.
So
or
they're mini dealers.
Kind of, yeah. They don't have to hold any inventory. It's just like, hey, click this link. I get a small commission for it. It's going to help me and my shooting journey.
Oh, and that's a good twist. I like that.
Yeah, because a lot of guys, ammo's expensive, right?
No, yes.
And a lot of guys are looking for partnerships and sponsorships and all that good stuff. And we saw there was a big need for this, and we've only had it for about a week now, and we've got 31 people who signed up for it. 31 competitive shooters.
I think I'd close that pretty quick.
Yeah, it's been.
No, I'm teasing.
It's been pretty crazy. They're all really excited too, and one of the shooters is also a marketer, and he came up and he was like, "Hey man, you guys need to start a Facebook group for this."
Okay.
And I was like, I didn't understand it at first, and now I get it. Basically, we're bringing all of Team Hackett now together. So anybody who's doing competitive shooting that's associated or affiliated with us is coming together and having one big discussion about how they could either become better shooters, about Hackett events, Hackett news, how they could sell our products better.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So it kind of helps everybody out, and also it's a really good networking thing as well.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's really great. Yeah. It's going back into the industry. It's helping keeping everybody, doing their activity or doing their hobby.
Yeah, and it's one thing we're really excited about, and we saw a lot of promise just around the idea phase, and once we executed on it, I think we went from idea to execution in like 2 days. It was I dropped everything to create this program.
Yeah, that's a great thing about being an entrepreneur. You got to move fast.
Yeah,
right.
So, yeah, exactly.
So you got a couple new. You're going to shot with a couple new things: your glasses and a tactical vest.
Yep, we're coming out with a premium line of Hackett equipment, basically, where we're calling it Hackett Black. This is like the first time we're talking about it too, by the way. So you're the first person to hear about this information.
All right. I would say, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
And basically, it's going to be like top tier, high end equipment. You know, if you're a competitive shooter, this is kind of why we got into the competitive shooting program to begin with, to start coming out with more products that are geared toward that, you know, high performance products.
Sure.
And yeah, we're really excited to show the wares, and it's going to be fun.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yep.
And then there's that thing that you and I are working on with the OEM side. So that's good. We can't release too many more of the details on that, but that's also going to be growing at shop.
I'm excited for that too.
I'm excited for you. It's going to be a good year. Hopefully for both of us.
I feel like 2020 is going to be the year.
Could be. Very well could be. I got my fingers crossed. All right, so running into the meat and potatoes of this episode, I got to say this again. This is not about the brands and what equipment needs to be on your gun, whose holster you've got to be rocking, any of that. It's got to be about...
You got to strip that away.
Yeah, totally. I don't... You know, you want to carry a Benchmade, carry a Benchmade. You want a Spyderco, you want a Marfione. What I don't really care.
What if it's a high point, though?
Well, yeah. Well, if you carry a Yeet cannon, you can go right ahead. You know, I don't care.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, click, bang, that's fine. But this is more about the platform-based discussions that people typically don't get into, and I think that most shooters or most people that carry, they need a little bit more background. Like the first and the worst.
Especially if you're getting into this like fresh, you know, you just got your, you know, first gun and now you want to concealed carry. Like it's kind of a scary thing, you know.
Yeah. To
go from not carrying a gun and then making that transition to carrying a gun all the time.
Yep. So the two mistakes you can possibly make when you make a decision is not making it one, being informed and having an intelligent idea, right? So if you don't have those things behind you, you cannot make an intelligent, informed decision. And that's the root of all evils when you start making critical decisions. You know, whether it's in business, whether it's in carrying a gun or drinking and driving, anything like this. It's not just weapons based. So what we're trying to do in this episode is make sure that everybody has a little bit more information. The questions are asked, the topics are brought up, and you can start your journey in, figuring out what carry method is good for you. And what essentials you need on your body. This whole EDC thing, I think, has gotten way too
It has. Oh my gosh.
Nuts. 2 years and everybody is
on social media, it's crazy about
I remember doing pocket dump pictures a couple years ago at Vulture, and I had one out there. It had a flashbang in it and stuff, and somebody's like, "Oh, that's so freaking dumb," and I'm like, "Well, so is taking a pocket dump picture, you moron." I'm sorry, I shouldn't be like that, but yeah. I'm like, well, so it is. It's dumb. It's supposed to be there to elicit a response, like a joke, you joke about the bad things that you wouldn't do, right?
Yeah.
The concrete shoes and all that other stuff, right? So it was more like it was a poke at humor,
kind of like satirical.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. So this is going to cover a lot of different things, and some of it I have the answers to. Some of it you might have the answer to, and then there's some of the stuff that does not get an answer.
Yeah,
it can't.
Only the user can answer it themselves, maybe.
Yes, after a significant amount of experience with themselves, their environment, and their choices and their their intellect. I don't want to say like you have to be smart to do this, but I'm saying, the way you look at the world,
there's an awareness involved.
Yes, and there's a consequence with doing it too.
Yeah.
I mean, when I was carrying a couple times, it was kind of funny. Your gun dropped out on the floor, and everyone went like, "Oh my God, you carry a gun!" I'm like, "What are you looking at, fool? Everyone carries a gun.
Yeah.
Mine just hit the floor."
Right.
But all right. So let's get into this. All right. So the first point we're gonna do is the actual firearm choice.
Okay.
All right. So
Fair.
full or compact, full size or compact, and that really is kind of a moot point because you have to go into concealed. If you want to carry full size and you got a small frame person, that's not really going to go very well.
Right.
You can carry a fanny pack or something like that. So that's not too big of an issue, right? Compact. The only thing I say about a compact gun is if you can't put your hand on the firearm, make a complete
full grip,
yeah, and have control.
I thought you'd say that for sure.
Control over that firearm and put those rounds where you need to, because let's just say like there's some people that just can't shoot a compact gun.
Yeah,
they just can't do it, and they're good shooters, but they just can't. That's like, so that's when you start to break down. So in that particular choice, I would say compact to the point of I can get my fingers on it. That's my personal. Yeah, like I don't carry the little bitty Glock. I don't
like
do
the
it.
baby Glock or like a PPK, like James Bond. Can't even get his ring finger on there.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm either not going to carry, which I'm going to get chastised for instantaneously. I can hear it now. The text messages by the end of the week is just going to be nuts. Like, what, you leave your gun at home? And I'm like, yeah, because if I'm not in the mood, I'm not in the mood. My mind's not in it that day. I'm not going to force it. Right. And
or
I've gotten to this point not carrying, mostly because we live in Illinois. I've gotten to this point not carrying a gun. Yeah. And I don't have any holes in me. So I've done a good job of keeping myself out of trouble to this point. Yeah. So maybe I can still do a relatively good job, and maybe I don't need it. But when I got to tell you this, though. Sure. I do have to say, when I've got my kids in the car, and let's say we're going downtown for my son's treatments or anything like that, oh boy, I'm packing. I'm heavy. Like but that's once again,
so
that's
everybody else in Chicago.
Yeah, legally or not, right? But that's that decision. You have to make an intelligent, informed decision. Yeah. And mine is my children's life is more precious to me than me going to jail. So we'll get to that in a minute. Okay. I'm excited. For that. What about you? What do you full size or compact?
No, it depends on the season for me. Okay. And I do carry both. With my compact, though, I at least make sure my pinky can get in there to get that full grip. Oh, that did almost sound a little strange.
Oh, that sounded so Howard Stern. Yeah. Oh, I wish I could get my pinky in there. God, this is going the wrong way. Right. All of a sudden. Already.
Yeah, so in the summer, I'm kind of like a slimmer guy, and it's really hard to put a firearm on my body. Like in the winter, I carry my Glock 19. All right. With an extended mag too. So
on the gun? Or flush on the gun?
Flush on the gun, extended mag outside of the gun.
All right. So let's talk about that really quick, because that's kind of jumping ahead. But while we're there, that's a good practice, right? And the Glock 19 is one of those platforms that really lends itself well to carrying extended. Yeah. And carrying flush and accessorizing extended. Yeah. So once again, I mean, you can get a 33 round mag and fit it inside of a Glock 19. Right. Yep. Right. So you can take a 33 round Glock 17 mag and dump it in at 19, and you're rocking all day long. And most people can get their pinky on a 19. If not, you put a little bit of a mag well on there. Just a real slim, just to give yourself that little lip, a little bit of traction, that type of thing. So yeah, I agree with you there. I also carry a Glock 19 sized gun. Of course, I carry my own gun. Yeah. But it's based off a Glock 19 size. Now, do you carry it because of how it feels in your hand or how comfortable you are with it? Or I'm uncomfortable carrying a gun outside of a 1911 just because of the way the 1911 is shaped and things like that. So when I'm going into a striker platform, and we'll get to that here, that's the next question, the next point. I'm going because it fits into my hand well and I can register it religiously. I don't carry... And I said we weren't going to go into brands, but this is kind of goofy. All right, so I can't carry an M&P. I want to. Yeah. I really do. I just can't point it. When I yank the firearm up and I instinctually point shoot, because I grew up point shooting under stress, and I know I'm going to get it again. Here it comes. I can hear him. Right now it's
the whipping post.
The whipping post. Yeah, just chain me down now and get it over with.
No, you bring up a good point though, because it's what you're comfortable with. Like regardless of the brand, like I feel like
some guns I pick up I can't point.
Yeah.
No matter how much I want to carry them, I'll own them. Oh yeah, I'll own them. I will own you. But I won't carry it. Yeah. I go back to something that I can draw effectively, and know that if the sights are on, the sights, meaning like the sights are actually on the firearm, or we get into a scuffle and the sights get knocked off or bent, that I know how to point shoot that firearm within 20 feet, 25 feet, and it's lethal. When I say lethal, I don't mean like putting rounds all in your chest. I can make a headshot at 20 feet with no sights.
That's crazy.
With the gun I carry.
That's awesome.
But that's just like a competition shooter.
Right.
You see the talented ones and the ones that have to really work.
Yeah.
I'm just talented at making a very quick instinctual shot.
Yeah.
And that's cool, but some people aren't. So that's why I choose that. And that's why I go down that road. Now,
skill level is a good point in all of this discussion too, right?
And we're going to get to that. That's like number 6 down here is training.
Oh, perfect.
And yeah. So striker or hammer fired, I think we just handed all that. I go both. Oh God, I can't say it that way. I go both ways. I carry both a striker fired as well as a hammered gun.
I do too. Yeah, the SIG P938 is what I carry in the summer. So
okay,
it's got an exposed hammer. I was really uncomfortable in the beginning, but the gun fit my hand really nicely. And after some training and just getting comfortable carrying it around, you know, like I'm fine carrying it now. So
good.
Yeah.
Good. That's something else that really doesn't get talked about, and that's that level of, where are you at comfort wise? Like if this is the first time carrying a gun.
Yeah. You're walking through the grocery store like
you think everyone is looking at you printing like that's a full size 1911.
I remember that, yeah.
I'm calling the cops. Yeah. You're waiting to come around the corner, and Batman standing there, looking at you like, no guns. Like, oh, yeah. I'm not Batman.
Right. Or the security guy at Mariano's or something like that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And then you have to be comfortable with the idea that you're carrying a deadly weapon. Now, that's a really interesting, I think dichotomy is the wrong word, but it's a really interesting point because you're trusting yourself and you're trusting everyone around you every single day with a deadly weapon, and that's a car.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You don't know if the person driving against you, against traffic, oncoming traffic, if they're drunk. They could put their head down. They could have their head so far up Facebook that next thing you know, your head's going through the windshield. I don't intrinsically trust a lot of people with a lot of high level decision making, especially when it comes to
in a vehicle for sure. Right?
Totally.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, everyone's like, "Oh, guns are bad. Guns are." Well, let's take the drunk thing out of a car. Cars kill more people every single day.
Yeah.
And now we've got the phone thing. They kill themselves.
On their phones driving.
Yeah, they kill themselves. They injure others. They hit pedestrians, bikes, all sorts of things.
I guess we should ban cars now.
Well, be careful. I'm sure that's why the whole electronic Google car is coming.
Right.
The Tesla.
Taking the human out of humanity, basically.
Yeah. It didn't. Michael Bloomberg said something about that.
Did
Sometimes
he?
you
Okay.
have to relinquish all your freedoms to the government. And he did. He said
Really?
that. Yeah, he said that out.
Man.
Like, I think he was in Virginia or something. He said that, and I was like, "Whoa, that's
Yeah.
deep." Yeah, the government knows better than you. I'm like, "Whoa, okay, Mr.
Crazy.
Bloomberg, go back to selling, stock trading platforms.
Right.
Stay out of my life." But it's something that everyone should get comfortable with, and
It deserves a lot of respect too.
Yeah,
That's one thing I learned from a very early age.
instantaneous amount of respect. Yeah, you hit something big there. Because the moment you pull the trigger and the gun goes bang, you can't say I'm sorry enough to get that bullet to turn around and get back in your gun.
Yeah.
It's over with.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I wanted to bring up to you. As we go through this, I'm going to bring up my children constantly.
Yeah.
Like most of the platforms I choose to have around the house, if they are unsecured for any length of time, I know in my bones of bones that my children cannot do anything with it. Mm-hmm. Pick it up. You know, if they were able to get their hands on it, if one of their friends, for some reason, let's say something goofy happens, you had an oversight, and you have to think this way. You have to think plan A, plan B, and plan C, right? So plan B and C, to me, is what happens when a child touches the gun? Or let's say you get into a fight, and you didn't draw your gun, but now all of a sudden your shirt comes up, and somebody sees that gun, and they pull it out, and they go to pull the trigger on you. Mm-hmm. That's that slippery slope, a one in the chamber or one not, you know? So we're going to get there in a second, but... you know, if a child can't cycle the action on a firearm, it can be rendered somewhat safe. And this is a very... I
could see where you're coming from with that.
This is a very dangerous...
This is a controversial kind of thing, but I get where you're coming from.
Yeah, because I believe in child locks.
Yeah.
All right? Especially if you don't have a safe and your firearms aren't locked up and out of reach. But you know what? You come home and let's say, oops, you know, you had to run to the bathroom and you took your gun off and you put it on the table or whatever like that, and... you know, you've got small children. You have to think about these things. Yeah. So you either have to take that gun to the bathroom with you in your home, which takes a lot of discipline. Mm-hmm. You know, so when you take on the responsibility,
instead of just leaving it on the coffee table or whatever. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. So you have to take that with you. And the first time my wife really got used to me carrying a firearm, she had no idea what I did or anything when we got married. But she'd look at me. She's like, "Really? You carry that thing everywhere with you?" And I'm like, because I don't want it out of my care, control, and custody. And those are the 3 C's that I would...
Okay, I never heard that one before.
Well, I would beat my protocol into people when I was running my training facility at Trident was you ultimately have care, control, and custody of, let's say, the offender. So if you leave him handcuffed on the street corner, right, and he gets up and runs away, and poof, he gets hit by a car going through the intersection, that's on you. If you lose... the dark corner or the deep corner in a room and you yell out clear and the next thing you know your buddy's taking rounds to the back, that was your care, custody, and control. You were in control of that environment. You had care. Like that was you. So the 3 C's are what I would beat.
That was your responsibility.
Yep. And it goes beyond responsibility because you can like care, control, and custody. Like if I take on that firearm from a suspect, I have to clear it out. If I stick it in my vest or let it or I kick it, oh my God, like the movies. Cops would kick guns, and I'm like, yeah, don't kick that gun. You don't know what's going wrong with it. And there it is. That's your custody. I've taken it. It is in my custody. I'm not letting it go, right? I'm not going to leave pieces and parts behind. I'm not going to leave a spare mag in the bedroom. Well, I've got the gun, and I'm leaving the mags behind. No, I'm taking it all, right? But I got to render it safe. So,
because Timmy's friend's dad might leave his gun out, but no mag in it. Hey, if we get these things together, maybe we could get something here.
You know, they have that saying, truth is stranger than fiction.
Yeah.
It is, right? I mean, could you make a movie about all of the stuff, you know, with the Jeffrey Epstein? And you couldn't do it. People would laugh at you. And they would laugh at me all the time in Sims training. They're like, well, that would never happen. No one thinks that way. And I'm like, hey, bro, I got news for you. I just did. You just went through it. Right. So that argument just went out the window because, you know, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yeah.
That's it. I need to get one up on you. I'll get one up on you somehow. So,
I like that though. You're always thinking like one step ahead.
You kind of have to. You kind of have to have one step ahead, and then you have to have an alternate plan. But that one went to crap. What's coming on next?
There's a certain amount of preparedness with all of this.
Yeah. Do you really want to get into a gun battle with your kids? Or do you just want to shoot for the ropes and, you know, put your foot in it all the way and drive on the sidewalk?
Right.
There's that. And that comes with training. That comes with knowing your abilities, knowing your platform, knowing your equipment, you know, your gun belt. I mean, your gun belts are awesome.
Oh, thank you, by the way.
That was a shameless plug. Sorry, but that's one of the first things that you have to have. It's nice holster, nice gun belt, because you can't do it with just, you know, your belt that you carry every day on your khakis.
I tried, and it does not work. The clips the holster clips just don't get in there. And
nope, it comes right off.
Yep.
Comes right off.
Try drawing, and nope.
Try bending over in a public bathroom or whatever. And dunk, 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 dunk. Here's everything on the floor. So with the striker fired or the hammer fired, what are your thoughts on light and lasers?
I don't use them. It's just one extra thing.
You don't feel unqualified.
No. I feel like if I need a flashlight, I have my cell phone. I don't like it's.
Okay.
I'm less like tactical, like oriented when it comes to all of this, I guess.
Yeah. All right.
And kind of like more of a practical. I do have like the Trijicon night sights on my Glock.
Well, that's a first and foremost. I mean that
Yeah.
I don't care that the gun came with night sights. I want the gun to be. If you're one that relies on sights, right? Iron sights. Pop those puppies off. Get yourself. Who's the other one that I was using on those couple new
something glow maybe?
Yeah, the True Glow, because they're fiber optic and tritium.
Okay,
which is nice.
The fiber optic's nice too. I have that on my SIG. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I used to laugh at guys who say, "Well, I'm getting a little older. I need that fiber optic front." And I'm like, yeah,
I like it.
But definitely a high quality. Don't rely on the manufacturer telling you those are night sights, because it might be okay, but. And then there's other people that say you'll never see your sights in a gunfight. And that goes back to training.
Yeah.
And I never used to think that when I was a young whippersnapper and, pounding dirt all over the world. I thought that was BS. Like, you're never going to see it. Mm-hmm. And you're just going to focus on the threat, because that's what mainly I would see in all these different types of training scenarios and engagements, because we were using sims all the time. Mm-hmm. So none of this bang, bang, you're dead crap. And at the end of the day, now at the midpoint in my life, let's say, I'm seeing the argument for a quality sight, because you will see it under stress. Only because I think that if most people train enough, they revert back to their training, definitely, mm-hmm. but they'll almost override their instinctual habit of fear. And I'm not sure if that's true or not. Yeah, that's why I said in the beginning that there's an answer for this stuff and there's not an answer for this stuff. Like that, I can't tell you. I can tell you what I do most of the time.
From your own experiences.
But there's been situations where I thought I knew what I was going to do, and I did something that I could never have fathomed. Like, seriously, like I looked at what I did, and I was like, oh my God, I just proved my own point. Because that's what I would beat on all the SWAT teams and the Fed teams and Tier 1 guys. I'm like...
Tell me more about that. That's kind of interesting.
It kind of branches off. You remember the movie The Abyss?
Yeah.
Okay, so the SEALs are in the thing, and they're arguing with the girl, and she's like, no, I'm telling you, it's impossible to know who's susceptible. And they're like, well, we all checked out. We've all made runs at this depth. We're good. And sure enough, I can't remember the guy's name. It was not Jeffrey Bean, was it? But he's sitting there starting shaking. And I don't care how many times you do it and you think you're going to do it in Sims, you might do something else in the real world. Mm-hmm. It's all based on your environment.
There's a lot of variables that go into
yeah, too. Tons. I can't even list them, right? And anybody to sit there and tell you that you're going to do this way under stress just because you train that way is not giving enough credit to the fact that you might be a different person that day than you were when you took the class or when you do your training, right? You might have a clear mind. You're having a argument with your wife. Your kids aren't, having problems in school or drugs. These are things that weigh on a normal person. Yeah. So we have to bring these conversations to something that's like, this is the real conversation, right? So you might be preoccupied. You might be in a different place in your life.
Stressed out about the holidays or something.
Oh, God, I sure hope it's not like that. That's got to be one messed up holiday. But I just, to that point, a friend of mine just lost his dad at Christmas. So it's like, yeah, you could definitely have the holiday.
Questionable decision-making, right? Like, can go into intense.
Yeah, you're at a different place in your life at that particular moment. So I like a light. I like a light. I do not believe in lasers.
Okay.
Not on a carry gun. Now, let's say that that decision came to me because of...
Yeah, what made you choose to add the light on?
I like to identify my target and have one less piece of equipment in my hands. Okay. All right. So if anytime I need an extra light, I can take the light out of my pocket, and this is what I used to teach all the tactical guys.
You use a separate light, not one on the gun.
No, I use one on the gun.
Oh, okay.
I've got one married to the gun, and I've got one in my pocket.
No kidding. Okay.
The idea of that is when you're going into a dark room, could be broad daylight. And I could find myself running into a storeroom, having my children and my wife follow me or push them into a storeroom, and I don't know what's in there. They could be sitting next to tanks of explosive, liquids. And without me just seeing a blank open room and like, here, you guys stay in here and hide. Well, the gunfire hits and, that kind of thing. That's that ABC pattern thing. So I always like to have a weapon light on my gun. End of story.
Wow. Okay.
End of story. The 1911 thing is hard because you got to carry a full size, and there's no rails and all that other stuff. So the subcompacts or the compacts, that's a little easier to do, but always have a light on your gun. That's my thought, right? Because if I need more light in a room, I turn my flashlight on and I toss it in a room.
That's
Nowadays,
cool,
with the amount of lumens we get out of these little itty bitty things,
you can light up a.
You've got enough where you can see shadows and movement.
Yeah.
Right, and I used to teach that in SWAT training all the time.
I've never even thought of that. That's
really?
Cool, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's
just throw your flashlight in the room.
That's MacGyver 101, bro. Hang out with me a little more often.
Write that down.
Oh yeah. Of course, you get that mixed up with a flashbang, and you're like, "Oops, sorry, boys."
Yeah. Correction: don't throw your gun with the flashlight on in the room.
Well, that's the point I was getting to. Is that if I need to light up that room or use that as in my area of dominance, and I want to make sure that no one can creep into those shadows or take that away, I'm going to either leave it in the doorway, turn it on, and light up that room and walk away, but I still have a light on my gun. So that's first and foremost. And you should identify your target fully. The whole cell phone thing in the hand, could have a GoPro, anything. And then all of a sudden you've just killed somebody. You're not in a law enforcement capacity when you're a citizen walking the street.
Right.
Right?
This is why it's so interesting to me, is because I come from a totally different world than you do,
And I come from all three worlds.
Yeah.
So I see it as now I'm no longer carrying a badge, and I'm no longer in a war zone. What am I? I'm going to jail is what I am. I'm cellmate 1289.
Right, yeah. I've trained this way, for certain instances, my entire life. And now I'm in the civilian world. And
right. So for the times you do need to carry your, to turn on a flashlight to identify your target before you pull the trigger, that leads to a different situation. That these are complicated questions. You can't hammer this out over an hour, I don't think. It's been taking me my whole career, 30 plus years, and I still don't have the answer.
Yeah.
I have most of the answer, but not all of the answer. And that's just me, because I'm a student all my life. And that's something that when people start getting to understand the amount of responsibility, like you said, you have a very big weight on your shoulders.
Yeah.
So it's time to knuckle down. All right, let's pull up our pants. Let's have a conversation like a set of big adults and talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. And right. So I don't believe in lasers, but that choice is mainly dependent on the city of Chicago. I get caught with a laser on my gun in the city of Chicago. It's lights out. I'm going to have problems. Yeah. And I don't really believe in it. Now, on my carbine, oh yeah, definitely.
I think in the city too, if you have more than 10 rounds in your gun, it's lights out.
They keep moving that around.
Do they?
Yeah, they keep moving that around.
It's kind of hard to keep up with.
Now I think it's like 9 rounds. They're trying to get away from the,
man.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Yeah. So my Glock 19 is kind of moot point in the city.
Yeah, we'd be felons.
Right.
You got to go get that 10-round mag out of the
California style.
Yeah, you got to go get it. Call Magpul. I think they've got a nice 10-round.
Yeah.
So light and laser, I would always opt for a light on the bottom. Now, it does make it heavy. It does make it more complicated because now you got to stuff it in a different holster. But then again, all of our holsters... Maybe
even a different position, too.
Could be, yeah. Actually, you know what? Funny you should say that because that's our next... Let me see.
Kind of leads into
no, that's it right here.
Right?
So I've got an extra mag. You covered that.
Yep.
Always have an extra mag.
Yeah.
If it's not on your body...
I love it. It's nice having almost 40 rounds just on me.
You're so American.
Yeah.
But you should have an extra mag someplace close to you. If you're vehicle based, that's great. Keep one in the car on the car door or something like that. As soon as you get out, stuff in your sock. I don't really like that, but they sell a lot of ankle bands and things like that for IFAKs and a spare magazine. So you should always carry one. But if you're carrying a Glock 19, you've got what, 15 rounds?
19? 17 rounds, 17? Depending, yeah.
On the 19 size mag, yeah. And then you put a little bumper on there, you'll get +2 out of it.
Yeah.
Right, so you've got plenty of rounds. If you're shooting more than, I'd say 15 rounds in a gunfight, you're doing one of two things. You are now the flat-out aggressor,
right?
And you are definitely going to jail. Or 2, you're doing something wrong.
Right.
You should really be looking at an escape plan because you're not a pro gunfighter.
Kind of goes to that Texas shooting that happened last weekend.
Yeah,
right.
I didn't pay attention to it, honestly.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Give me the rundown on it.
Just a quick rundown. A guy brought a shotgun into a church and he brandished it during the processions or whatever, and he wound up shooting the first guy trying to draw his gun on him. And
really,
yeah.
So we got 1 round off. So we got 1 wounded so far.
I think he got 2 or 3 rounds off, and 2 died, I believe.
Oh, sad.
But within that 5 seconds, a guy in the back was able to, draw and shoot him 1 shot right in the head from like 20 feet away.
It's after several rounds being shot out of a shotgun.
Yeah,
a couple people dying. And they don't die instantaneously, right? So they're going down. There's blood. They're screaming everywhere. For somebody to be able to pull a firearm, line up a sights 20, 25 feet.
It was very fast how it all happened too.
Boom, make that shot.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
And I guess the church has like a designated security team. It's kind of like older guys who train. They train for this specific scenario. Which is crazy.
We started that with a couple churches here in the area, and they got chickened out. They
really
totally chickened out, and I'm like, you've got to do this the right way, and you've got to do it. We've got
there's hours that need to go into this, and they said they trained a while.
Licensing, and there's all sorts of stuff, and you really kind of have to have it well with your parishioners and be like, look, if I'm going to leave, you're leaving your lamb to the slaughter.
Yeah,
you're leaving them there. Now you're not protecting them at all, and you're a vicious target.
You're relying on the notion that people are going to be good.
Well, when you're in church, I think that's what you're there for, right?
The people there,
right?
Yeah.
But anybody can walk in, and then you get in the whole lockdown thing. But
sure,
yeah. But that's pretty cool. That's cool that he was able to do it. It's not very nice that people died in the interim, but
a lot of people. I mean, obviously the media didn't really tell you that a good guy with a gun shot a bad guy with a gun either.
They're not going to do that. It doesn't fit their narrative. All right, RMR. Are you rocking an RMR on your gun?
Yeah.
Or some sort of. There I go with the brands again. I broke my own rule several times. An optical sight on your gun, electronic.
So I usually like to carry stock.
Okay.
That's my choice. But I am getting more familiarized with like red dots and that kind of thing. So I'm segueing into it. I don't like every day it's iron sights right now.
Well, it's definitely easier to carry. And in order to get something that and other guys could probably make very good equipment, right? So, all the other manufacturers of these sights, I'm sure they're very well made and everything. But a battle sight to me is something that you depend your life on. And to me, there's only one choice. Now, that could change. I mean, I change a lot of my equipment all the time based on, what I feel, but I haven't had no experience with the other ones.
Yeah.
So I have with this one, and that's where I tend to go. And that's perfectly fine. That's why I don't want this to be about brands and tell you, oh, no, you got to have an RMR or whatever. It's got to have a 6.5 MOA dot.
It's like a less can go wrong kind of thing for me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, less that can go wrong.
The battery's not going to just like all of a sudden, right when I need it, not be there.
Take a dump. Yeah. All right, so we've got that pretty much.
Well, let's backtrack a little bit.
Right.
Why do you carry with an RMR? There's got to be a specific reason for it.
I carry both.
Okay.
All right, just because I'm not looking at the RMR.
Okay.
I can't tell you why I do this, but I look at the target.
Yeah.
I make ultimate target threat decision then and there. And subconsciously, I'm putting that dot where I want it to go, or I'm putting those sights or the frame rail, the slide rails where I want where I want the round to go. I had this conversation a long time ago at the FBI shooting range up in Chicago at the north side, and Rob Latham was actually there doing a class. And I was talking to one of the guys, and we were going back and forth or whatever. And at the time, I was carrying a USP, and there were no sights on it. And most of the Glocks in our training academy had no sights because they were all knocked off. I mean, you couldn't keep a sight. You couldn't keep a pair of sights on a Glock to save yourself. It'd fall off. You bang, 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 and you see the sight fling off. It was horrible. But that's here or there. That's all been fixed most of the time. And we're standing there, and I had met Rob a while back, and and I'm just sitting there, and somebody else in the class had said to me, "Oh, you're carrying that stupid gun with no sights, ha ha ha," and they're poking fun at me. And I said, "Yeah, I'll still outshoot you." And they're like, "Impossible." And Latham kind of, poked his head in because he's the one doing the class, and he's like, "All right, ladies, what's going on over here? You want to fill us in?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, he thinks he can outshoot me. He's got no sights on his gun." And Latham looks at him and goes, "If he says he can, he probably can." And I'm like, "Well, thanks, Big Rob, but
what confidence in you?
Yeah, what confidence? And I'm just kind of looking at him, and then he looks at this. Rob Latham looks at this guy and goes, "So can I?" And the guy that
I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, I was like, really? Okay, cool. There's more freaks like me. And sure as hell. And he's like, well, do you want to do it? And I said, well, yeah, I'll do it. He's like, you're not scared of failing? No. If I fail, it just shows me what I'm not good at. So it's time to correct it or not do it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, in the sniper community, that's like frowned upon, right? But it's the only way you push your limits and boundaries, and that's in training. Mm-hmm. So yanked it out, put 15 in the target, and the guy was just like, and they're all within a 10-inch plate.
Yeah.
And I'm going fast. Like but it's kind of cool because I could line up the frame, the slide angles, because it's got like those 35-degree angles cut on the tops, and it actually goes to subconscious lining of the actual firearm to the target. And it was just and it was done. And I had a 1911 years ago. Didn't have any sights on it. Had 3 slabs. 2 45s and a flat on the top. And that was it. Yep. And I'm so mad at myself for selling that gun. I needed money, and as a youngster, I mean, what do you do? I'd shoot some IDPA with it and everything, and everybody kind of be, wow, that's so cool. But I've taught other people to do it because it's easy. You look through the gun. And if you're doing the same thing all over and over and over, now we're not talking about, a couple hundred rounds. We're talking about 5,000, 10,000 rounds. And, and you'll get it done.
What's
it's muscle memory?
Like, I know everybody's different with this, but there's definitely like a correlation with how many rounds you put through your firearm and how comfortable and
how many hours you got on a helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing.
You know that like 10,000 hour rule for like any kind of like if you want to be a master at like playing the drums, you got to practice for 10,000 hours. Maybe like 10,000 rounds.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. In the waistband or out the waistband?
Yeah. So moving on to the holster, I am inside the waistband right now. I do want to work my way out of it, and I'm appendix carry as well.
Oh really?
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump to that.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody brace themselves.
Here we go.
Grip the steering wheel if you're driving. Keep your eyes on the road. And here comes the comment. I have a hard time doing that.
I know why. I do. I do.
You do?
Have.
And this is still
some reservations about it.
This is silliness, right? This is in our brain. Guns don't go off by themselves. The whole 9 yards. La 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 la.
Yeah.
There has to be some external force, put there. But dare I say,
or external member?
Yes. I dare I say, I really enjoy my manhood.
Yeah.
I mean, I really enjoy it. Right. So, just the thought of losing that part of my body, I would have to say absolutely not. But then again, I break that on a routine basis when I'm doing a lot of walking, because it's easier to carry appendix style. But I'm always in the back of my mind or the forefront. I'm like, God, I sure hope fucking Guston has got this design right. I really do. I don't want to chop off my eggplant at the base.
There's a weird like catch-22 about.
Oh my God! I just realized what I said.
There's like a catch-22 or like some factors you got away with. How quickly do you want to be able to draw?
It's fast, but you know what? Off the side of my hip at like the 3-4 o'clock position, I'm just as fast.
Yeah,
I'm just as fast, and I can't say that it's fast, or I can't say it's faster for me. It's the same. The reholstering, I don't like the reholstering on it, just because
that's kind of where it gets dangerous to me. Is the reholstering?
You think your finger back on a striker fired gun?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many rounds I have seen shot in training with sims with guys putting their gun away in their holster, and this is after the training scenario. All right, everyone holster up. All right, everyone good? Everyone good? All right, holster up. And you hear it. And I'm like, what was that? And everyone's like, oh, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. And I'm like, it was one of you. I heard it go bang, and you all heard it go bang.
And you have guns a hole in your shirt.
Yeah, exactly. Let me look inside everyone's holster. Let me see who's blue.
Yeah.
So that was... and I'm not scared to say this. I think as being
it needs to be said.
As an alpha personality, I think if you boil it down to a lot of guys that are, true alphas, and it's just guys, people that are true alphas, the only way they know they've made a mistake is by learning that they made a mistake. So by me saying this, I'm on both sides of that fence because I don't feel comfortable. And maybe I question myself because it doesn't fit right for me because I've got a short pelvic girdle. Right? Like my waist is a little bit lower and my hips are a little higher.
That's why I don't carry on the sides because I'm slimmer and it's very difficult for me to conceal it with like a tighter shirt or something.
Well,
like that,
see, therein lies the rub. This is why we're having a platform-based discussion and not like, oh, alien gear. It's like I don't care about any of that. So I don't care what you put it in as long as it's a holster. Yeah. I don't care where you put it as long as you can draw it effectively and reholster it effectively and not endanger yourself or anyone else around you, right? You can maintain the holster. You can maintain the integrity of your firearm in the holster. So that's kind of, I don't know, it doesn't fit me. But when I'm walking around, like in the summertime with a T-shirt, it's the easiest way for me to conceal. But I don't like it. Yeah. I definitely don't like it.
You brought up a good point earlier, too, that I think needs a little more emphasis, is that you should always be questioning how you're going about things. Like because a lot of assumptions can be made, just based on what you read on the internet or something like that.
Yeah. Totally. You put your faith in a false prophet. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I mean, if you could, and I don't want to pick on religion or anything like that. That's not the purpose of this next little comment. But if you can't prove to yourself that this is good, this is right, this is true, then you should probably question it. And you should question it with every ounce of your being. And it's just the way I view things. Yeah. And it could be wrong, it could be right. I wouldn't know. And I think I would really look at somebody suspect if they were to tell me, no, you're empirically wrong. I'd just kind of look at them and be like, now that's not an alpha personality. Yeah. To me is my understanding of and my interaction with a lot of these folks. So I don't know. I'm in the waistband. I always hated it. But then again, I grew up in Montana.
In the waistband on your side.
Yeah, I'm at the 3 o'clock position.
How's your hip feel at the end of the day?
Well, I'm a bit of a fatty, so.
Oh, okay, you got the cushion there.
Yeah, got a little bit of. There's a tire there that's running interference. I don't find any certain holsters don't fit well with me. And like if you get a backer, that's cool, but it takes up more room. Yeah, it's a lot more uncomfortable. How many to get it on and off quickly? So if I'm going to go into a restaurant and there's a sign there that says, no guns.
Hey, you got to walk back to your car.
I got to take my gun off. Yeah. How am I going to get my gun off? I'm not taking my gun out of the holster and taking the holster out. Then that's a recipe for disaster because you're racing or rushing or doing something. So you've got a loaded gun. You got one in the pipe. Right? And you're pulling it out, you're putting it on the seat of the car, you're getting your holster out, you're trying to find some place to stash it or unload it and put the lock through it so it's anchored to the vehicle somehow.
Before you give your car to the valet.
Oh, God, don't say that. Oh, you wouldn't dare. And then you've got, how do you get the holster in and out? And it's not that easy for me. And I'm a larger guy.
I think for anybody.
Well, I don't know. I've seen people put those like sidecar rigs. They got a holster and a mag going appendix, and they can drop that thing in their pants, and boom, it comes out and goes in. Like I'm like, wow, I can see that. How'd you do that? But then again, my pants are regular size. I don't buy an extra size because then they don't fit well on me because at that size, you're getting silly.
I sized up on my pants and I wound up growing into them. So
don't do that. You're gonna size down that way you don't eat that second slice of pizza. Right. It's so hard with a pizza in the pizza.
We could talk about the belt too because I finally realized how I've always carried a gun belt, but it wasn't until I started experimenting without one where I was like, wow, the world of difference there.
Oh, there's a big difference. Yeah. Now, not to say that I won't run out of the house with just a regular belt on and I'll stuff that gun in my pants, gangster style. Yeah. I've done that. I don't want to say close to 50% of the time, but I got to tell you, I just cinch my belt down one more and I shove it in my pants and I'm running out the door. And and that gets to that hypocrisy that I find myself in all the time of say, do what I say, not as I do. But then again, I never really hang anybody on the fact that, hey, you made a bad decision. Yeah. I just say, have you thought that through? Well, yeah. I'm not going to go running down the street. And if I do go running out the street, I'm going to pull my gun. Yeah. Right? And then I'm going to go run down the street because I don't want to lose care, control, and custody And if I get arrested for running down the street with a gun, okay. If I get shot because I'm running down the street with a gun, okay. That was my decision that day.
Yeah.
You know, and now all of a sudden John Q. Law rolls up and he hears bang, bang, bang. And first thing I'm going to do is drop my gun and put my hands in the air and lay down.
Yeah.
And just completely like go limp.
Right.
Like, you do whatever you want with me. Because I've been in training for so long that I know that most people can't handle the stress of being a police officer,
Right.
even though they are. That's a slippery slope, but we won't go there. Well, let's do another one of that. I'm going to bring a couple SWAT guys and my commander and stuff like that, and we're going to sit down and we'll have one of those.
Well, so the whole training aspect was like kind of something on a topic on, I think, next on the conversation here.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, we
touched on the equipment mostly, I feel like.
Yeah, the empty chamber theory, we haven't touched on that.
We didn't talk about that.
I don't like that.
Neither do I.
But there's a place for it.
Right.
In my view, there's a place for it. It's not in your carry. It's how you store your firearm.
Okay.
Right? And that's going back to your children or the environment you're in or something like that. To think that you're going to be able to, I don't want to say this way, but an average person to be able to draw, cycle, and get around on target, oh, that's almost impossible.
Yeah.
That's damn near almost impossible. For a trained shooter who trains that way, and they're not training to put around in the chamber, they're training to get around out of the chamber. You pulled, it went click. Pull it back in so that you've got retention, rack, and shoot from that tucked position.
That kind of seems like a cowboy kind of thing. You might as well carry a revolver at that point, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
But if you train to the point of having a failure, now we're having a different discussion.
That's a way different discussion.
Right, way different discussion. So it does prove the theory, and I'll show it time and time again, that I can pull that off, pull it out, rack, and boom, shoot close distance. And people do that all the time. There's really almost no difference between pulling up and shooting from the waist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like rotating the gun out like this because someone's right on top of you. That's acceptable in that scenario.
Mm-hmm.
But what if you have a failure to fire?
Mm-hmm.
Now you've got to put your hand on the gun, rack the slide, and get that round off because that dude's on top of you.
Yeah.
Right? So it's the same theory. It's the same practice in a different theory.
Yeah.
So
sometimes both hands aren't accessible either.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly. And then you've got a real problem. Right? So not carrying around in the chamber when you're out on the street.
That sounds like a nightmare scenario.
I don't like it. Personally,
That's when
I don't
you hit him with the gun over the head.
was that instructor weirdo from Italy? He just,
Did it with his boot or whatever.
The gun is empty, and I take it and I zip it at the gun. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? Well, the gun is useless to me. You know, he's got no ammo, and I'm like.
One of L10's friends, huh?
Oh, no, he's not. Oh. No, definitely not. No, don't say that to him. He'll go crazy. Yeah. But I don't know. There it is. In my view, and your view is almost the same. Look, if you're going to carry a gun, put one in the round.
Yeah.
Put a round in the chamber. Put it in a quality holster. And make sure that you're not taking the gun in and out of the holster unnecessarily. Mm-hmm. And you won't have a negligent discharge.
Right, yeah.
Right?
That is important too.
And when you need it, you don't have to concentrate on another step of, oh shit, there's nothing in my gun. I've got to rack it. Let's say you short stroke it. Let's say in your stress, you short stroke that puppy, and now you've got a half a stovepipe or a failure to feed, and now you bring up, and that guy's looking at an empty gun, or it's over with. He's
smiling at you.
He's just now shot another 10 rounds.
Yeah.
Well, what's the point of carrying a gun at that point?
Yeah.
Right. Now I've become more of a liability.
Yeah.
Because now I got to fall back down and rack my slide again, and let's say we put another one in, a second failure to feed. Because you didn't clear that first round out, and it's still sitting in there, and it's trying to, there's all sorts of different failures that go into it, especially a semi-automatic firearm.
Yeah.
So it's not perfect all the time. We've had triple feeds in AR-15s, and they've all been mag related.
Not all the way seated, or
no? It's the feed lips on the wings of the magazine was what causing it.
Weird.
And then the ammo, it was like a perfect storm, and the ammo was underpowered, so it was short stroking and grabbing 2 rounds at the same time, and it wasn't coming all the way back and stuff like that. So, carry around in the chamber. This is my fault. This is personal opinion, right? Opinions are like buttholes.
The philosophy here is important, though.
It is. It is.
And speaking of rounds, I know you're going to one-up me on this one.
No, it's a totally different. It's a totally different theory again. You're carrying what?
I'm carrying the SIG. It's the V Crown
It's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive ammo when you see the
I love it.
crown on that when it opens up. That's amazing stuff. And you're shooting what, 115 grain?
115 grain and 1050 FPS.
All right. So I'm shooting after I switched from critical defense because I had access to it and it was a good solid
shot that
round.
a lot too. Yeah.
I switched over to the Ruger ARX. Now it's a
neat little
it's somebody
round.
else's. It's somebody else's round that's been put over. But that ARX bullet has got those channels to dump all the energy. But my bullet's only 80 grain.
And it goes how many feet per second?
Oh, baby, it's on fire! 1,500 feet a second.
That thing is zipping.
Oh yeah, you put that in a PCC, and you got a flame ball coming off the back of that thing. And it's an odd blended metallic round.
Sounds like an expensive day at the range too.
Yeah, it is. It's expensive stuff. But hey, I'm only going to shoot it once, and I'm going to be broke anyway for defending myself in court. So who cares? Modifications. What's your thought on changing the internals?
I don't do any.
Good for you. I personally don't endorse it because the gun was engineered to do a certain thing, and that is to go bang when you pull the trigger. If you're ultimately using it for a defensive gun, it should not for several purposes. And I grew up listening to Mossad Ayub all the time, and reading the articles. But if you want the reliability, your best bet is to stick with stock.
Yeah.
Right? If you do shoot somebody, and God forbid they've got somebody like me sitting on the other side, and I'm, a consultant. I'm going to tear your gun apart. Yeah. First thing I do, give me the gun. I'm going to tear it apart and be like, oh, this motherfucker's looking for a race. Yeah. He's looking for a fight. Yeah. It's all over with. I'm going to hang you. Yeah. And just because
he modified the trigger.
He's got a uber soft and short reset. Yeah. He's got a titanium firing pin. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that's the part that actually strikes the primer to make the round go bang.
You're right.
Okay. So now it's lightened and cross drilled. Here's a stock one. It just looks like it looks like a Bic pen. Yeah. And here's his. It looks like a piece of space age alien technology.
There's some preemptiveness to everything.
Exactly. It's just, you have to look at that A, B, and C again. Those paths of where you're going to be and what's going to happen to you. And much like your idea of the RMR, that one can be taken either way because now you're turning your gun into a race gun. Or you could be aiding because you've got astigmatism and you can't see the sights, and for reliability purposes and safety reasons, I use that type of sighting. It's just a sighting aid. That's all it is. Yeah. It's to make me a more effective at putting rounds on target and not missing. Yeah. And an inerrant round striking some child is what I was going for, Your Honor. So I didn't want that to happen, so I used this. So you can argue that one both ways, but you can't.
I've got a neat little basis for why I carry stock, and like growing up shooting, I think I was like 7 or 8 at the time, and the guys we would shoot with would be like my dad, his friends, and my grandpa. And one of the guys had like a really like modified trigger on his 1911, and this is my dad quit shooting for 4 years because of this accident. Like the gun just decided to go off. I don't know. I was there. I was really young at the time. I don't know all the factors that went into it, but there was bullets whizzing by his head. And that's for me, like, from these guys would do a lot of stuff to their guns, and I've seen a lot of, like, that specific accident irked me.
As it would probably anybody with half a brain. Yeah.
And, just so, I do like modify things on like my like pistol caliber carbine and that, but just for defense purposes, especially since I'm inside the waistband, I do not want that puppy going off.
You don't want to be chopping, your eggplant at the base. Huh? Just you go to the doctor and be like, you know what, I don't need this thing anymore. Take it off at the trunk. Yeah. No one does.
Nobody.
Exactly. Said nobody in history. I'm the same way. No mods. You want to put a magwell on, that's fine. You can't say it. You want to put a trigger shoe on, that's fine, but don't change the internals, especially in a Glock. Yeah. Guys start shaving that stuff down, and they start to they remove what makes a Glock safe trigger. Right. All right. So the safe trigger,
the integrity is gone.
Most people think it's the little button, the lever on the trigger. It's not.
That just
It's
engages it.
Yeah. It's actually the shelf that's sitting inside to keep it from going off in the actual trigger mechanism. So that's what makes it a safe action. But you start getting rid of that or shaving down your sear on a 1911 to make it go, and you're like, you breathe on it. No thanks.
Nope.
First aid? Are you carrying first aid?
A couple Band-Aids in my backpack.
Okay. I carry a little pack. I don't believe in the tourniquet thing.
Okay. Oh yeah, you have I liked your theory behind this too. You see everybody online flashing their tourniquets everywhere.
Tourniquets are great. They've got a purpose.
Yeah.
I'm not qualified. Now, someone's going to say, well, you don't need to be qualified to put a tourniquet on your leg because you're bleeding out. I got to tell you, after probably, I can't even imagine how many rounds of Sims we shot. I would have to go pull the invoices. I still have them. I have the entire archive of that whole entire thing. And I got to tell you, after all of that, never saw anybody shot in the junk. Never. Very little on the legs and the arms. It was mostly in the hands and face and the neck.
Really?
And I can't put a tourniquet around your neck.
You do not want to do that.
It doesn't work. Now, guys in the military are going to tell, they're like, oh, rah, rah. And I agree with them. No, you should have a tourniquet on. You're in a war zone. I'm not. I'm 5-10 minutes away from EMS.
Yeah.
I'm in the real world.
And
I'm
what did you say you would carry in lieu of a tourniquet? You said you would carry something else.
Quick clot.
Quick clot. That's what it was.
Yeah. Because if I shoot myself in the leg by accident, I'm fighting with somebody, boom, the gun goes off. He runs away. I'm stuck with my own bullet wound. I can sprinkle some quick clot on me, go through the pain, get the bleeding to stop. I don't need a tourniquet to stop that. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I could literally lose my leg from using a tourniquet improperly. Now, remember, you get shot and you see your own blood spilling out all over the floor. I got news for you.
Yeah. It's
very disturbing. I've lopped off parts of my finger, and been stabbed in the leg by a harpoon, a spear gun. I gotta tell you, man.
Long story.
Yeah. Well, damn Puerto Rican kid thought I was a fish. And I gotta tell you, it's very unnerving. And even for somebody who's comfortable around blood and trauma and things like that, I don't know. I don't believe in it. I think that with that piece of equipment, that piece of kit should be kept in a backpack. I'm not saying not to carry it.
Yeah.
I'm saying I don't carry it on my person, just because I'll carry a little bag of Quick Clot and a little Quick Sponge.
At least when you're wearing a backpack, you can carry more.
You can carry more, right? But because most of us
likes to carry a million things on their body.
It's so heavy, dude. Especially in the summertime. Chicago's humid.
Yeah.
Right. Arizona's hot, like hot. Nevada's hot. But it's not humid. I mean, living here is just like it can be hard sometimes. So
which makes it challenging to carry an inside the waistband.
It does.
Firearm.
Yeah. You got to keep cleaning it unless you don't care about it. And most of my guns are tools anyway, so I don't really give a hell. I just carry.
Which is another important point is that it is a tool and it should be treated as such.
Yeah, a very dangerous tool, but yeah that's what it is. It's you should train with it all the time. So I don't think about the tourniquet thing. I think more of the Quick Clot. I definitely think about things like essentials, like a knife, my ID.
Yeah.
I know it's going to sound silly, but my EDC definitely consists of me checking to make sure that I have my concealed carry license.
Yeah.
Might have fallen out, but I don't know. I don't change my wallet very often.
It's kind of like that spectacles, testicles, wallet, and watch kind of thing. You know what I mean? You always do that pat check.
Yeah, the pat check, right? Yeah. Do you carry a flashlight every day?
Like I said, on my phone.
Okay.
I don't know enough about.
I don't subscribe to carrying, like you said, like all this junk in our pockets.
Yeah, I'm a minimalist when it comes to all that.
And I think people have to understand that. Okay, well, I've got a flashlight. I can pull my flashlight, put it over in a hairy stance, and
I would love to carry a flashlight every day. By the way,
most times I don't do it at all.
But exactly.
But then again, I come from a different theory. Like if I need a flashlight and there's some guy getting in my face, I shouldn't probably say this, but that gun's coming out.
Yeah,
that gun's coming out. It'll be kept to my side, which again is the hypocrisy of why I say when you carry your gun and you deploy your firearm. There's only one reason you pull that gun from your holster.
Yeah.
Right? But I would prefer to have a flashlight on me, and that meaning that I'm in my car, my flashlight's in my car. I'm getting out of my vehicle, I'm putting a flashlight in my pocket.
Sure.
I don't have to carry it all night. I don't have to go bonkers with it. And a lot of times I'll just carry a pocket knife and my flashlight, just because
Yeah.
I don't want to carry my gun,
Yeah.
or I can't.
Or you can't, like you're gonna have a couple beers later, or something like that.
It's not responsible. Although in Pittsburgh, while I was there, everybody was drunk at the bar and they all had guns on. That was kind of a thing. I'm like, you guys aren't supposed to be carrying guns, and they're like, this is the place you need to carry a gun, kid. I'm like, touche.
I know you kind of wanted to talk about folded or fixed blade knives for carrying. Now that we're talking about knives,
I'll always carry a pocket knife on me. But I grew up carrying a pocket knife. I had a buck. I know it was a case. That was a buck. It was a buck, had little wood scales on it, little black leather sheath.
Yeah.
I always had it on my belt because I was in the woods and stuff. Yeah. And it was everybody that I knew in the trades and stuff like that always carried a pocket knife. Plumbers, electricians, everybody had a pocket knife on the outside of their belt. I just never thought about it, right? Yeah. And I still do to this day. I carry a pocket knife. It's not, like, it's a clip on this and clip on that. No, it's a utility pocket knife. It's not really. I don't carry my out the front, high speed, low drag, operate underwater switchblade or stiletto.
Yeah,
I really don't care.
This is your Amazon box cutter knife.
No, definitely not. I don't buy those. But I do see your point in having a knife is better than having no knife. But no, I carry a nice quality, folding blade. And most days, I'll always have a fixed blade on me.
Okay. Fixed blade. All right.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Do you carry like long ways along the belt, or
scout style?
Okay.
I've got a couple sheaths that are just leather, and they're like Apache style that just actually go inside my waistband.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's almost covered the entire knife, and I'll jam it inside my crotch, in the appendix style, and I'll stuff that there, and people see this little thing with a ball hanging out of my pants or whatever. It's a little keychain, a little piece of milk cord. It's all braided, and there's a big bead on the end of it. And they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And I pull it out. I'm like, whoosh. Now comes this sheath. Yeah. And I pull out this knife, and they're like, "Oh my God, you can!" I'm like, "Well, it's just a knife, dude. What are you worried about? It's legal. It's not plunged into your chest. It's no different."
So I almost feel like the knife is like the most important piece of equipment in this discussion. Like at least it'll be on your persons most often.
Well, it depends on what you do, right?
Sure.
So I don't really require a multi-tool on my person. Now there's other people that say, "Oh, I use it all the time." Well, that's cool. Then replace a fixed blade knife with a multi-tool.
Yeah.
But for me, I feel better carrying a fixed blade knife. Just how I grew up, and that's my deal. And if I need to pry open a car door, I'm not doing it with a multi-tool
or your pistol.
True, very true. It's man's oldest tool.
Yeah.
That being said, if I need to pry myself out of a car, if I need to smash my way out of a window, if I need to cut a seatbelt, most of the time, you've got to take a multi-tool and unfold it a little bit, or get to this, or get
There's
that.
There's some time involved.
Yeah, and it's a teeny little pocket knife. So my view on a fixed blade knife being on my person or within arm's reach at all times is that it's more of a utility tool for the oops moment when your life is put to the test. That's all. I mean, you carry it hunting. You don't ever take it off your side. You don't ever let it go anywhere else. You don't ever carry a knife in your backpack. Your fixed blade knife is never on your backpack straps when you're hiking. It's always on your person, along with a lighter and that kind of thing stuffed in your sock with some fire starters and that. And so if you're ever separated from your backpack, and we'll get into this whole hunting, survival thing.
That's like a whole nother discussion.
But I was taught a long time ago, you have some way to make fire, and you keep your knife on you at all times. And, hopefully you have not been separated from your gun. That's why most guys would always carry an Alaskan style rig with a big revolver in it. It's easy to carry. It's easy to ride on a horse. It's easy to get in and out of a truck.
Alaskan style as in like shoulder, or?
No,
like
it's in the front of your chest.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a bandolero style.
Yeah.
Some guys carry shoulder harnesses and stuff like that, but it's a lot easier.
That is cool to have that big revolver sitting there.
Oh, yeah. Big piece of ox blood leather, high polished, 460 or 500 express. Oh, yeah.
There's something romantic about that.
Oh, especially a little 5-shot, with a really like a 3-inch or 2-inch barrel with a bird's head handle and pearl. Oh, yeah. Everyone looks in and goes, "What?"
Like, this guy's serious.
Yeah, I'm your huckleberry. Yeah, try and tell it to a grizzly bear. Yeah. All right, so fixed or folded. I carry in, and this is part of the essentials thing. Like, first and foremost, if you want to talk about safety, protect your identity. Right? So this is when I would have a shameless plug for somebody who's sponsored the podcast, but I don't. So just carry an RFID wallet. Because most of your credit cards, new credit cards now, are transmitting.
Yeah.
There's a beacon in them. They're like, boop, boop. You can just walk over and just
That's a strange
tap
thing.
it on the thing. Yeah. I don't have to worry about my Apple phone because that encryption is as top as we can get at the moment, right? So, and they're pretty much on top of that. So
you're saying like someone can just brush up against you and all of a sudden
they can be standing next to you at the grocery store, at the mall, at the airport, and they might have their bag resting right up against you because you're in a crowd, and they're downloading your entire life.
That is crazy.
Now they have to go back and decrypt it and all that other stuff, but if they're able to get it, they're able to use it. So I don't trust it. So blackout bags or RFID blocking wallets, that type of stuff all the time. But training, we touched on this a little bit. My theory, if you're going to carry a gun, you train with that gun.
Yeah.
All the time. If you think that you want to go get a new gun, you go take that class again. You run yourself through the same training regimen again and again and again.
You have to.
Don't chicken out and say, okay, well, I know the principle behind this. No, it's a different platform. If you're going from, Glock 19 to SIG 365, no, different gun, different feel.
Yeah.
Do it again. Do it again. Go shoot 1,000.
Positioning.
Go shoot 1,000 rounds and shoot those 1,000 rounds fast, hard, and with purpose.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way you're going to start building the muscle memory. And not, I'm going to sit there and drop 50 rounds. I'm like, bang, bang.
Okay, no. I'm good.
Oh, look at this! It works. Yeah, I know. Well, chances are the gun's going to work. Right? It's modern manufacturing. Let's take that whole thing of like, oh, I got to put it through testing. I'm like, who are you to put it through testing? Really,
I got to put it in guacamole.
And I kind of look at guys that are like, oh, I got to test it first. I'm like, test it first. It's 3/8 of an inch, and it's like it's CPM 154 steel with a certified heat treat. Like, what are you going to test? That it goes through.
The testing has been done.
It's over with, man.
It's been tested.
Right, and it's the same thing about saying, a new gun and this, that, and the other thing. And like from a major manufacturer, I don't think you ever have to really worry about that. The only thing you have to worry about as a person carrying that gun is that you have built up enough muscle memory and enough recoil management where you can religiously yank that thing out and put 10 rounds as fast as you possibly can and not hit anything but the target.
Right.
And you have to work your way up to that, but you also have to be careful that you can't always be doing a mag dump because under stress you're going to do a mag dump. And I got news for you. Munitions training. One guy fires, the next guy fires, and then all four people have just dumped.
Yeah.
It's when you see the shootings happen, it's just personal nature. It's just human nature. I don't know
Eliminate
why.
the threat, right?
Well, no, it's like follow. It's like lead and follow. Okay. One guy leads, bang, 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 and the other guy's, and everyone's like, oh, he's firing too, I got to fire. I don't know what it is or why it is, but I've seen
why are we shooting again?
Exactly. And now all of a sudden, and there's rounds everywhere. And the bad guys only got 2 rounds in them, and there's like 30 rounds expended. Mm-hmm. And so I think if you can control your gun on a static range as fast as you can pull the trigger and get every single one of those rounds on target, you're probably going to be better suited to fire defensively. Remember, you don't want to shoot somebody at 50 feet. Right? You're going to jail, bro. Right. Nice knowing you. Let me know how those orange jumpsuits feel.
Right. That's when you move that shell casing after the fact and up a couple feet.
Yeah, you scoop up all the blood and you move the body a little closer or something. Yeah, no, I don't. No, you're going to jail.
How do you feel about always having like a
a sponge?
No. I don't know what reminded me of this.
Sponge and a squeegee?
But I've heard this a lot, especially lately, like having a firearms attorney on call and also having concealed carry insurance.
I have read some of the concealed carry insurance and spending enough time in the legal realms, not as an attorney, but as somebody who has had to use a lot of legal and as well as my family over the years just because of business. And if you're an entrepreneur or in construction or any of that, you're always using attorneys.
Yeah.
And I would have to say it's a good idea, but read the fine print. Mm-hmm. Understand the fine print. You don't want to be sitting there going, oh, I paid all this money. And they're like, yeah, but see right
We're
here.
We're still not going to represent you.
Yeah, exactly. Because you operated outside of the insurance policy by carrying this or doing that. Or
you carried it at the 4 o'clock and we told you 5.
But you'd be surprised how much it breaks down to something silly like that.
Interesting.
You know, like, yes, I think you should investigate having carry insurance. You have life insurance.
Yeah.
You have car insurance. You have homeowners insurance. You have all that other stuff. And there goes that how they used to sell insurance back in the day was, oh, well, God forbid. And they're like, oh, yeah, God forbid something happens. You should really have some insurance. Oh, yes, here, take my money.
Yeah.
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
I can tell you this. I've got it myself, and I've got both. Mm-hmm. I've got 2 different providers just because.
Yeah.
But then again, on the other side, I also look at it as I have to be smart enough to understand what's being brought to me as far as charges and why I pulled my gun. And that goes back to that comment, like, I have no problem, and I say this in theory. Now remember, I just said this in theory. I have no problem pulling my firearm, dumping a mag in your face, and going to jail. Mm-hmm. If
End of podcast, folks.
if I'm defending my children and, and my life, my life, yeah, it's useless at this point anyway.
Yeah, right.
But my children's life and my immediate family, I am not going to dump a mag in some dude's face just because he happens to walk into a restaurant. That's just the way I look at it. You're going to make a bad situation worse. You're going to try and protect those around you first, and then try and hierarchy or triage that decision in your head. So I can't say to that, but I do say to this. I wouldn't think twice about it. I know that prison's tough. I've not been there, but I have been inside of a prison several times, and I got to tell you, I don't think it would be easy for me to do, but I have no choice. I'm not going to let my children die.
Sure, I understand that completely. There is like a process that goes through it too, and I've got an interesting story that happened to me last year, and I was concealed carrying at the time, downtown Chicago on State Street, and this woman is running past me. He's got a gun, like, and she's like running as fast as she can. And,
oh no! And never believe somebody,
right? Yeah. So I'm like, what the heck, you know? And like, I'm processing everything, and I didn't. Brandish at that point. I didn't see anybody with a gun. I did see, a car full of people that was like kind of chasing after her. Mm-hmm. I didn't see a firearm though. I didn't really see anything that
would warrant
that.
Yeah,
but and I'm glad I didn't, because it was a crowd of people around me. And
well, let's back up a second. Now, if this guy comes into let's say a restaurant, just because we're in restaurants quite a bit. This dirtbag comes into a restaurant and he pulls out a gun. I'm going to be very expeditious about how I handle it. I'm not going to just jump right up and just go. Not
like a gopher, like whoop.
Right, exactly. But the moment I see an elevated stance, I'm going to try, and during that time, try and get. And this is
like
all in
strategic,
theory.
maybe.
This is all in theory,
right?
Like this is all you can think about, right? This is all you can talk about. Is in theory. I'm going to try and get my wife and my children protected as much as I possibly can, and then take my move. But that's one of those things.
Sometimes it doesn't unfold.
Yeah,
that nicely.
I'm more worried about me getting up, tripping over somebody who freaks out that now there's a second gunman, and let's say they move and trip me, and now this guy turns around and just mows down everybody. And if you had the glass ball, you had that crystal ball, he would have never fired around. And you look through it and you run both scenarios, and you're like, you forced him to shoot. I fear that. Like, to me, that's that Monday night quarterback, the situation. Like, what if I didn't shoot? Now he's dead and everyone's safe, but 3 more people got shot. If I didn't shoot, would he just grab the money out of the register and run? Or would he just, I don't know. So that's a real tough.
There's another scenario where you bring a third person in who's also carrying, and he might not know who's the perp here.
He might pop you.
So if you're too early on the jump, and not everybody's aware of what's going on too, you could be that that guy who's, you know,
anybody listening to this right now is going to go, well, screw this, I'm not carrying.
right?
I think you've got a better chance of getting attacked by a great white shark in Lake Michigan than actually getting into a gunfight if you're just living your normal life as a normal citizen.
Yeah.
Now, if you go out to certain areas and, you know, a downtown area or a metropolitan area where you're I don't want to say you're looking for it, but you're definitely exposing yourself to it, a different question. But that's what the analogy about a great white shark in Lake Michigan is like. Great white shark's not going to be there, right? So I'm not going to be in the hood. Now, no, I'm not going to the hood. I'm sorry, I don't belong there.
Sometimes the hood comes to you, though.
Yeah, well, that's a different question. That's a totally different thing. That's, you know, pop off the claymore that's sitting out back and everybody to the basement. We're repelling borders. Right. That sounds really... Oh, that sounds horrible. I do not have a claymore sitting in the background in the backyard. Okay, so please.
Me. No, I'm just kidding.
Do not think that that's true. What are we going to do?
We had a few good discussions here, though, I feel like.
Concealed pistol, when you first you got to train, right? Train. Yeah. Everybody says the same thing.
Reiterate your CCC
but good training
again, because that was...
good training. Coming out of the industry, I see a lot of charlatans. I see a lot of snake oil salesmen. And I'm not saying the dudes that come out of the war or any of the wars are not qualified. And I'm not saying the guys that come off a police force or that come off of, you know, an NRA instructor or anything like that are not qualified. But do a little bit of research on the person that you're taking some classes from. Yeah. And always take it with a grain of salt. And you leave what you don't, take what you want. I don't really like that comment, and it's been put together since the late 90s that I know of when I was doing organized police training, law enforcement training on all levels. And I got to tell you, I really despise it because it predisposes you to find negativity in the class. And I try and find positive points in every single class with every single comment. Like I try to defend the instructor's point of view to myself to see if I can rationalize it myself. I don't try and poke holes in it. And this whole thing of, oh, I'm playing.
Like, where is he coming from kind of thing.
Right. And I don't ever want myself to be viewed as, be that person that sits there and goes, well, I'm just going to play devil's advocate for a minute. I hear that and I just want to smack somebody. I want to lose my temper so fast when I hear that because it's just showing me that all you're doing is trying to be a provocateur. Instead of being learning, you know, be a learned person, you want to find something wrong with the situation that you paid for it in, and you want to shoot holes in my stuff. Don't shoot holes in my stuff. Shoot holes in your own stuff, turkey boy. Right. You know, like, why you know.
There's a term that comes to mind, and I just heard it yesterday, and I love it. It's called, you don't want to be that idiot savant. Where
yeah, you definitely don't. You definitely don't. Yeah. So that's what goes with training to me. And, you know, we'll have our own training. I'm redoing all my training curriculums. Not redoing, but I'm relaunching all that stuff.
And you're going to incorporate it.
Yeah, at the ranch.
Awesome.
That's what it's there for. And it's funny. I watch all the gun shows now, and I'm sitting there and I'm laughing, and I get really mad sometimes. And I'm like, bro, where have you been for 20 years? Yeah. You know, like, you're just figuring this out now? Dude, I was doing that in 1998, and I was called a heretic. You know, like, oh, don't touch him. He's training killers, and he'll train you how to be a master assassin. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm teaching you how to handle a gun. Yeah. And why in the world do I need to be, you know, this, or this in order to get the job done? It's about results. Yeah. It's about prove it. Prove it to me. If it works, all right, I'll take it and I'll put it in my toolbox. Yeah. So,
are you guys still taking like pre-orders on like memberships at the ranch?
Yes.
As we're talking about the ranch, I feel like it would be a good time to, you know,
kind of segue that a bit. So yes, we're waiting for one last little thing to go through, and we're going to start membership. So membership notices will go out to those people who have signed up on the email list.
Gotcha.
You know, and then they'll get.
So that's where people can kind of get that.
Definitely. You go to
access.
1881ranch.com, go to membership, fill out the form, and you'll be notified about founding membership. And that goes through to everyone on the list first, for like 2 weeks before we announce it all over social media.
So if you're in Indiana, Chicagoland area, maybe
Michigan,
even Wisconsin,
lower Wisconsin, lower Michigan. I mean, you could.
This would be good.
You could be a member from Iowa. I don't care. Florida. We've got a couple guys, as a matter of fact, from Florida that have already said, "Oh, we're in." because we
Awesome.
spend a lot of time going to to Chicago and Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So we'll drive through and we'll spend a couple days there. I'm like, all right, cool, that's
Perfect.
fun. Yeah. So, anything else you want to put to this? Like, I think an accessory holster. If you're really going to talk about an EDC carry and you want to be able to have that flexibility, I think a really good ankle holster that's built more like an ankle carry. Who does that? There's an IFAC. There's an IFAC ankle holster or a first aid or an EDC ankle holster.
One of our competitors, I'll even say the name, Lynx Defense, does like a good ankle type rig for medical and for firearms too. So,
okay.
Yeah. They seem to be pretty comfortable and well, good quality. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Hat and sunglasses. Your new sunglasses that are coming out. Can I talk about those?
Yeah, you can talk. Not too much, but
Not too much, but they're safety rated, right?
Yeah.
Because they're safety glasses.
Safety glasses, they're like kind of high end deal there.
They look
high
very
performance.
They look very cool. So if everybody keep watching the Hackett Equipment social media.
We got something coming very soon that we're really excited about.
Those look cool.
Yeah.
They look really cool. And if they're safety glasses, and you're doubling up. And you should always double up your safety glasses. Even just in a car accident or something, you should have some safety protection to your glasses, I think. But that's me again. That's one tool that does 2 or 3 things.
Well, a lot of people don't know this too, that like their sunglasses aren't ballistic rated. So they won't pass that, mil spec Z81 test, that's required.
Most of the Oakley glasses are.
Yeah, I can see Oakley doing it.
None of the Ray-Bans glasses
I doubt Ray-Ban.
No, because that's part of that whole Italian conglomerate now.
Yeah. They're not even thinking about
Magpul,
that. Yeah.
Magpul, any of the shooting glasses,
Yeah.
that type of thing.
You want something that's kind of versatile like that, where, good for protecting your eyes from the sun, but also, maybe shrapnel or something like that.
If you're done with that design, I like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I'm rocking a pair of those.
Yeah, a lot of people have been really excited for that one. So
good. Accessory holsters, multi-pocket pants. It's cool, but they're expensive, and if you have to be a thinner guy to get,
sometimes they're not as fashionable.
Yeah.
Too,
Well, I'm not talking about cargo pants. I'm not talking about a pair of 511s.
Okay.
I'm talking about a pair of jeans. They look like jeans, like Vertex makes these and Beyond and stuff like that. Where you can take a 30-round mag and
high-tech
dump them in it, but they don't
carry stuff coming out.
You can tell I've got something in. You can tell I got a bunch of junk in my trunk when I'm wearing that stuff, and got it loaded up. So somebody with larger thighs, that's a hard thing. That's why I go to the ankle.
Yeah.
I
like that.
Large calves, large thighs from working out for years, and that
everybody's situation is different too.
Exactly. You have to really
like for me, I'm a single guy now. Like I don't want to be looking like I've got like pudgy like little things sticking out everywhere, around my body.
Oh, he's got a deformity.
Yeah. What are you? Yeah.
You walk up to him and like, oh God, what do you have?
Why do you carry a Maglite in your pants?
Maglite. Oh God, I haven't seen a Maglite in years.
Right.
Oh man. So I think that's about. Oh my God, we've got an hour and a half.
Well, I just want to say thank you for having me. And if anybody wants to check out Hackett Equipment, go to hackettequipment.com and get 20% off with the code Hackett20. So
perfect. And they can reach out to you at what email address?
info@hackettequipment.com, and
which is right on the website.
Right on the website, and we've got our Instagram and Facebook up as well. So.
All right. So if anybody needs to reach out to me or send me some hate mail or some ideas for a couple of these topics,
I'm writing one as we speak.
You gotta rate that the worst podcast in the world. Who does this chump think he is? No, so you can reach out to me. Just address it in the subject matter. Attention will. But you can send it to membership@1881ranch.com. You can, of course, find more information about the ranch and more about this podcast at 1881ranch.com. And
it'd be cool to hear people's feedback too. Like, what do you like hearing? What don't you like hearing?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you want to hear more of?
We kind of incorporated a little bit of that with last one with Chris and I when we went through the membership stuff.
Right.
But if you guys have any types of questions or comments, please send them through because it's the only way we can change and make anything better. As well as if you want to suggest a topic for another podcast, I'm sure there's a cadre of people we can do. I mean, we've got this beautiful Bluetooth link in so we can take phone calls too.
Wow.
Should we do that? Oh, that'd be kind of fun. Yeah, let's do a call-in.
That would be cool.
You want to do a call-in?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be fun. All right, so maybe we'll do a call-in with a Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Right? Or an Instagram Live thing.
Yeah.
And we'll post out the phone number and have everybody call in and take your questions live on the air. Or maybe some sort of live. I think I'm going to have you screen them.
Yeah, I'll have
Chris
screener.
screen them.
Oh, Chris would be a good screener, actually.
I don't think any calls are going in. Nope, stupid. Dumb, not approved. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. This was episode 10 with Greg from Hackett Equipment and, myself, Will, again. Reach out to us. Let us know if we're doing a good job, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks again.
Thanks.
Thanks again, everyone, for tuning in to another installment of Home on the Range. Remember, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Till next time, stay wild and true to your heart.